So I want to tell the story about what happened to me at the Avis rental car in Tampa this weekend. And I want to preface it by saying, I know that I signed the contract and I made a mistake here, but listen to the whole story and understand what happened. So we land in Tampa and we get to the Avis Car Rental desk to pick up our car that we had reserved. The line was very long, very, very long. I'm not entirely sure how long we had waited in line, but it was extreme. People around us were starting to get upset. There were several workers that were standing off to the side chatting, and it just overall, they didn't seem to care that there was a line of dozens of people waiting to pick up their car. So we've been waiting in the line, I'd say probably at this point, a half an hour. And I say to my daughter, who's with me, that I feel like I'm lightheaded, I'm gonna pass out. And I passed out. I fainted in the line. So I wake up, there's medics standing over me, the other customers surrounding the area were standing over me, and they called the EMTs. They tested me, made sure everything was okay. They tested my blood sugar, they took my blood pressure, they had me sit down, they had me stand up. Everything checked out. So I have lost a lot of weight, and I have a medical condition that sometimes my blood pressure bottoms out and I will faint, and that is what we assume happened here. So throughout all of this, we are still in line at Avis. Thankfully, the very nice people surrounding us saved our spots in line, and we waited. I sat on a chair. They told me not to stand up anymore. I sat on a chair and waited as my daughter kept through the line until we finally got until it was our turn to get at the desk. We're about 15 feet in front of the desk, and there's absolutely no way that the agents at the Avis desk did not see what had just occurred. Also, if you've ever fainted, you know that afterwards, you're kind of groggy and you just feel out of it, right? So the medics had said, you cannot drive, ma'am. Make sure she drives, etc., etc. So we get up to the desk. The agent that's helping me had a very heavy accent, and he was speaking very softly. I kept having to say, what? I can't understand you. Can you repeat that? And I was kind of out of it. I was groggy, just, from everything that had just happened. I was still shaky. And honestly, his accent was extremely heavy, and I just really could not make out what he was saying. So we asked if my daughter can be added as a driver so she can drive. He's like, she can't because she's only 22. She has to be 25. But we could add her as the primary driver and I could be the secondary. Okay, fine. So we can do that. And then we proceed. He asked me some questions, and I was just like signing papers. Honestly, I don't recall really a whole lot of the situation. As I said, I literally was unconscious moments before and just was not of the right state of mind. So we never get my daughter added as the primary driver because he could not grasp that concept. We get to the car. I waited. We sat in the car for a while, whatever. We go on our way. Everything was fine. I didn't crash or anything. So we get back, we return the car, and then I get the e-receipt. And he has added on every possible upgrade that I could have added. The extra insurance, the toll thing. The total tolls, I went over the Sky Bridge by Tampa is $1.75 each way. I was charged $69 for the tolls, plus $179 for the extra added on insurance, which I didn't need. My car insurance covers me, as well as my American Express card that I used to pay. So anyway, he totally took advantage of the situation, added every single thing on, and they're like, well, you signed the contract, so too bad, so sad. I had been in line, I think we were in line for over an hour. It was an extreme amount of time. As I said, I fainted, was not of sound mind. I shouldn't have been driving. I was told not to drive by the medics. This person witnessed this entire thing. It happened directly in front of his desk, about 15 feet away from him. I mean, he had to have seen the EMTs and the security that surrounded me this whole time. So anyway, I filed a complaint with Avis, and they were like, well, you signed the contract, so too bad, so sad. Okay, I did sign the contract. I get that. That's my mistake. I was not of sound mind and should not have signed the contract. I had waited for over an hour. I was out of it. Shouldn't have even been driving. And this agent absolutely took advantage of the situation. I feel it was predatory, and I also feel like treating people like a human situation would have went a lot farther than his extra commission that he made off of those upgrades. But the response from Avis Corporate is just absolutely deplorable. So here I am on TikTok telling this story because I ran it by a few people and I was like, I know I made a mistake. I signed the contract. But their behavior during the situation and now their response to me afterwards is absolutely horrific. Terrible customer service. Do not use Avis. Avoid at all costs.